guys, my name is Violeta Rocha. I am a broker associate with Lifestyle International Realty. I am also part of the board of governors for the Miami Association of Realtors. Today, I'm very excited to bring you information on how to lead generate. This is something that we should be doing every day. So we'll go over talking about how to generate leads for rentals, buyers, and sellers. So we'll have a lot of good information to share with you guys.
Thank you so much, Violet. Okay. Now we have a brand new partnership. Obviously, inventory is super low right now, and we are always looking for ways for our realtors to show our consumers what options are available for real estate. And one of the ways we can do that is through is new listings. And we have Stefan with us. Stefan, if you don't mind, go ahead and introduce yourself, who you work for, and why your product is so important for realtors.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. This is Stefan with New Estate Only. Thank you very much, Kevin, for having me here. I'll keep it very short, not to bore anybody. So what NEO is, New Estate Only, and some of you may or may not have heard of NEO before, is basically, simply put, right now the largest and most advanced off and pre and under construction internet online platform. So what we have is currently, I would say, about 1,400 pre and under construction developments all in one place, marketed on our platform, available and accessible very easily for agent brokers and whoever else is interested in purchasing or buying a condo in Miami these days, or also townhouses. So it's just a platform that you can go on for free and with ease find pretty much every single pre and under construction project that is existent today in all of Florida, the entire state. It doesn't cost anything, so you can just go on there, register, and then get all the information you need. You can also share that information. If you have a project on there that you would like to market to maybe a potential client, you can simply share that information directly from our website with that client if you want to. So that's something you can do. And the last thing I want to mention is that you can also fully integrate that website. The Miami Association is thankfully paying for that for you, so you have that tool available. So you can integrate that full database that New Estate Only has online into your own personal website. So it means if you have a website as an agent, for example, you can make it look as if this would be part of your own personal website without any branding of NEO whatsoever, and then access all the information of all pre and under construction projects in Florida from your own website, and also share information with clients from the database with your clients from out of your own website, so to speak, right? And that's all paid for by the association, so it's free for you. And that's basically what it is and what we do. There's other things, but I'll keep it short for now. So basically in one place, one platform with all pre and under construction developments accessible for you easily, and also to share with others if you want to.
Now, if you're not dealing with new construction, obviously there are some other steps you need to go through. One is inspection. And today we have Nelson Ruiz Moya with Infinity Home Inspections. Nelson, tell us about your services and why people need to consider Infinity when it's time to inspect their home.
Thank you very much, Kevin. I appreciate it. Good afternoon, everybody. One of the reasons I actually offered to sponsor this meeting today was because it's a topic of lead generation. And I think everybody's going to be saying, what's a home inspector got to do with lead generation? But I actually have a very unique tool that we are unveiling very, very soon. The platform's almost completed. But it'll be just in general question. If you have a listing, you made the hard work of getting that listing, and you now have your sign outside of a house, you put it up on the MLS. We all know that there's countless amount of buyers that drive by that house and look at it and may or may not decide of whether they want to buy that house. But what if we can capture some of those individuals that are passing in front of that house and you get a lead from that? So we have a very unique system that we're putting into place. People will volunteer their information. We hope to capture as many of those drive-by potential home buyers that are out on the market without a realtor, and we'll be able to share them with whoever the listing agent is. It's a lot of information to really explain it. It's actually very simple. But if anybody's interested in finding out more, just look me up on infinityinspector.com. Just reach out to me through my contact us page, and I'll explain to you how we can help you not only with the listing that you are offering, but maybe gain some of that public that's driving by and not actually knocking on the door or letting you know that they're interested. So a little bit about us. We've been in the market 7 years. We offer full service home inspections, and we do pre-listing inspections in case you do get a listing, and we do pre-purchase inspections with mitigation and 4-point. Thank you all for having me here today, and I'm nice to be able to sponsor this meeting. Again, Nelson Ruiz Moya with Infinity Inspection Services.
Thank you so much. Is Robert? Be sure. Hey, and before Nelson, be sure to put your information in the chat so people can access that as well.
Definitely.
Do we have Robert Convito with us with the NRL mortgage? All right. I guess he's not here with us today. If he comes later, he can certainly tell us more about NRL services then. Now with that, it looks like we're up to the main event. Thank you everybody so much for sharing your services with us. Please consider them. Obviously, our sponsors are what makes this available for free to you instead of a class charge that we normally had to offer in the past. So be sure to show our sponsors some love. And then of course, show Violeta some love because she's going to tell you how to grow your business today. Violeta, thank you so much for hosting this class. The floor is yours.
All right, thank you. All right, let me. Kevin, can you let me share my screen?
I thought I made you co-host, but let me do it again. Maybe I did not. Co-host. Okay, try now.
All right, perfect. All right, so as I said earlier, we will be covering different ways to generate leads. Obviously, the most common leads that we will generate are rental leads, buyer leads, and seller leads. So rental leads, when I first started in real estate, I do think that rental leads were obviously the easiest to get and the fastest to close. The market is very, very tough right now with rentals as there is with the sales of the homes. So rental leads usually, like I said, close a lot faster. They're easier in the sense of if you make a mistake, it is not detrimental end of the world, just because we are signing on a lesser amount. So when your pipeline is low, obviously rental leads are the way to go. And another reason why you would be generating rental leads is because the person that you are working with at the moment may not be qualified to be a buyer. Doesn't mean that you don't screen them to be a buyer. You're always going to ask qualifying questions that we are going to go over. And obviously, most of the time, past clients, new clients, they'll refer you rental leads as well. So there's different platforms that we can use to generate these rental leads. There is a program called RentLinks. There is a monthly service to that RentLinks. So how RentLinks works is that you would post anything that you would find. Obviously, you do need to ask permission in order to post these rentals. Most of the time, you kind of want to stay and work within your office, whatever rentals are available. You would post it on RentLinks, and what RentLinks does is it's going to distribute that information via various websites. So it'll post it on apartments.com, apartment list, etc. So you'll start generating leads that way, and you'll get in the rental links website, you'll see all the leads come in. On the Miami Gateway, we do have Rental Beast as well. That is a different service that you guys can use in order to generate leads as well. Rent Links or Rental Beast provides us different, I would say, like rental communities and different things that might not be on the MLS, because they do make direct contact with, you know, rent by owners and different people. So not always what you find on the MLS will you find on Rental Beast. So it's always a good option to go ahead and use that service as well. You also have the option of Craigslist. I would be careful with Craigslist just because, especially now with everything going on, there's a lot of people that are putting a lot of misinformation out there. So it's always important to make sure that you are establishing yourself as a credible source, as a realtor, so people know that they're working with a realtor and can trust you. Another good one is Facebook Marketplace. Posting on Facebook Marketplace, most of the time it gets you a ton of leads. Obviously, sometimes you get bombarded with questions. So you just kind of have to filter through the people that you're receiving to make sure that they qualify for the rental that you're posting. And then obviously posting rental communities as well. There's a lot of rental communities that work with us realtors. So it's just a matter of reaching out to them, asking them if they work with us or what programs they have available for your clients to be able to get into these apartments or places. So a different way, obviously, to get or generate a rental lead is by generating rental ads. So you want to make sure that whatever listings you guys are using for your rental ads are fresh, active listings. If it's been on the market for 30 days, in this market, obviously, we don't see anything that lasts that long. So just make sure it's something new. You're going to get permission from the listing agent or the broker in order to be able to post that listing. Make sure you're using quality pictures, and then write minimal details, no specific address, to kind of generate that interest so that they reach out to you and ask you questions about that particular property. So for example, you'll write gorgeous 3-2 available in Kendall, and just make sure that when these leads are reaching out to you, you're replying as soon as you get these messages, just because time is of the essence, especially in this market. All right, so here's an example of a rental ad. Obviously, we're using a quality picture. We're describing the location. We're saying it's move-in ready, and just giving a description of what the apartment or the property looks like. So this is just kind of to catch the attention and then get that lead into your pipeline and be able to work with them. It doesn't always mean that the property that they reach out to you for is the one they'll go for. So it's obviously important just to ask them questions to make sure that you know what they're looking for. So you're gonna ask them the location, the price range. You can ask them the qualifying questions to see if they could be a potential buyer. So if they've spoken with a lender, if they're working with a realtor, why they're moving, and then just make sure that you're guiding them in the right direction. If you see the potential of turning that rental client into a buyer, don't be shy. Make sure you're asking the questions just to, you know, get your foot in the door and keep that communication going with them. All right, does anybody have any questions on rental leads, wants more information on anything in particular that I have covered? All right. So we will move on then to the buyer lead sources. So with buyers, obviously right now in this market, I feel like there's a ton of buyers. There's more buyers than there are inventory, so competition is very, very tough. But there's different ways to generate those buyer leads. Zillow is an option. Obviously, that is a paid source. Depending on how much you invest into Zillow, it depends on the area that you get and you invest in and how many leads you'll get per month. Trulia is also an option, realtor.com. Again, Facebook ads to me is the best. It's the easiest and the least expensive as far as generating buyer leads. And you're not always going to get these buyers on the first shot. It's very important to follow up with them. There's also bold leads that you can purchase leads from. So there's a ton of them that you can choose from. It's really up to you how much money you have to spend and or invest into generating these leads. Like I said, the rental leads, a lot of the times, those rental leads can be buyer leads. It's just up to you to ask those questions to make sure that they might be ready to purchase. So it's really just asking them, hey, here's an option, let's try this. Especially with the rental prices being so much more expensive now, coming in with 3 months, sometimes it adds up to what, possibly a down payment could be. All right, I'm going to talk about some free buyer lead sources. So we have your sphere of influence, social media, Craigslist, and open houses. So when we are working with any of these, you're going to obviously ask the same questions you would ask a rental client. Ask them what they're looking for. You need to make sure that you're listening to your buyers, getting them to explain to you what they're looking for so that way you know how to guide them in the right direction as far as where they want to be. So these are just some questions. Ask them bedroom, bathroom, if they're looking for a garage, 1-story, 2-story, yards, etc. All right, so your free lead sources, we're talking about sphere of influence. So some options as far as sphere of influence, you can reach out to family, close friends, non-close friends, past coworkers, past clients, and their sphere. So you always want to make sure that you're staying top of mind as a realtor so that people know what it is that you do and they find you to be the main source of anything real estate related. So it's always important to reach out and say, hey, is there anything that I could do to help, and let them know what you're doing. Obviously, there's more options as far as sphere of influence. If you were involved in any hobbies, you can go and look at past clubs, activities. Some options for, clubs and activities could be BNIs, Toastmasters, Chambers of Commerce. So it's just important to be involved within the community so that you make sure that you have a presence as a realtor. As far as hobbies, you can, participate in book clubs, run clubs, etc. At the gym, same thing. All these places where you can establish yourself as to be known as a realtor are very important. All right, so the circle of influence, obviously, these are most than likely leads that you are not paying for. So you need to make sure that, again, you're establishing yourself as a realtor. You can create call competitions, things like that. So, on social media, you can post something like, hey, I have a competition within my brokerage. Whoever closes 10 deals this month wins X prize. If you guys know anybody who's wanting to buy or sell, send their information over to me so I can go ahead and, try and win this competition. So it's kind of like getting the people that you know to reach out to you and give you people that they may know that are willing to buy or sell. All right, so here's a script that you guys can use for the circle of influence. So I think, Kevin, you're gonna send out this information, so you guys can go over the script yourself if you wanted to use it. Okay. With the circle of influence, it's very important to have meaningful contact. People want to connect with people. We are in a people business, so we need to make sure that we make others feel like, they're part of something, or you're connected to them in some way so that they can relate to you. You don't want to be a salesperson. You want to make sure, again, that you're establishing relationships, creating these relationships so that in the long term, they're referring clients to you, or they feel like they can trust you, work with you, and you'll be the main person that they would contact when they think of something that's related to real estate. So something that I like to do, I like to send out handwritten notes to my clients, past coworkers, things like that. So every month I'll pick a different group. I'll send them a nice like thank you note or like I'm thinking of you note, and then that way they remember what I do. And then they reach out to me, obviously start conversations. So these are all great tools to use. There's also something called the Personal Marketing Co. It's a great website where you pay $25 per, it's like a one-time fee of $25, and it'll reach out to your clients every quarter for like the next 5 years. So it'll send them postcards, anniversary cards, things like that. So if in case you forget to do it, at least there's something that's being sent out that's reminding them of you. Right. So again, another way to reach out to your circle of influence. Remember, these are leads that you're not paying for. You're just reaching out to them. You can keep in touch with them via email newsletters or print marketing, direct mailers, anything like that. All right. So then obviously we have social media, another free way of getting leads. So make sure that you're active on the platform. So on Instagram, you have stories, you have posts, both are great options to use. It's very important to think about what you're putting out there. It's hard for people to connect with just pictures of houses or information about real estate. So when you're posting things on social media, make sure that you have a balance. You know, personally, I like to use the 80-20 rule. So 80% personal, 20% real estate. In the 80%, I'm not posting about real estate, but my face is on there. I'm like trying to connect with people so that they know I'm a person and I'm not just trying to sell them houses. So obviously you can always, within that 80%, tie it back to something real estate related. But it's just not just a picture of a house. People connect again with people. So it's important that you're on there. So obviously a story is something that you would post. It would be gone within 24 hours. So you can post, you know, anything as far as a day in the life of you as a realtor. You can post home tours or any updates that you may have on the market. And then as far as posts, make sure it's something that leaves a lasting impression, because obviously that's going to stay on your profile. Content that adds value is very important to have within your feed. And then just make sure that you're always building your brand. So just work again with work, personal brand, hobbies, and interests. So that 80-20 rule, I think is a good basis. Make sure that when you're posting, you're using geolocations so that it's relevant to you. A lot of the time as realtors, I'm guilty of it. We're using hashtag real estate, Miami real estate. And I feel that once we use those kind of hashtags, we're attracting a lot of realtor followers. And we want to make sure that we're reaching out to buyers or potential sellers. So just using things that have to do with the community gives you the opportunity to outreach within that sphere. So a lot of the times I feel like we're just connecting with people that either follow us and we follow them back, but it's very important on social media to actually outreach. There could be a hashtag that you can follow, and then you can personally reach out to people and start building what's called like parasocial relationships. So then basically you start following them, interacting with them, and then just having them getting to know you through social media, and potentially that can turn into a potential client. So make sure you're using hashtags that are relevant to your post. Followers love anything that they can interact with. So post quizzes on your stories. It raises the engagement, and then post when your audience is available. I feel that everybody's gonna have a different time frame when they can post. So obviously if you have a business account, you'll be able to see what your interaction's like. So that's something that you might need to try and see what works for you, or when your audience is more engaged, and then obviously try to post during those times using the insights that Instagram provides you. Facebook and LinkedIn are also great sources of places to post in order to get business. So just make sure that on those platforms, you're posting shareable content. All right. Another free lead source is open houses. Sometimes at the beginning, we don't have open houses for ourselves to post. So as a new agent or a veteran agent who might not have been working for a while, it's very important that you keep in touch with everybody in your office, or just reach out to agents and see if you can host an open house for them. Once you've secured a listing where you can host the open house, you need to make sure that you are door knocking the neighbors, spreading the information that you are going to host this open house. You're going to advertise it on social media. You're going to send it out to your sphere. And then you can do what I like to do, which is circle prospecting. Depending on the times where you go door knocking, it's going to be hit or miss on whether or not people are home. Circle prospecting is a great way to reach out to the same people within the neighborhood. I personally use, there's different websites that you can use. You can type in the address where you're hosting the open house, and it's going to give you geo leads for the people that are in the area that you can reach out to. So you can call them, just let them know. There's a website called Vortex, which is the one I use. You type in the information, it gives you a list of phone numbers. You call them, let them know you're hosting an open house. You're inviting them to come. So obviously, the more time you have, the more interest you can generate within that open house, and the more potential people that can walk in. Yes, a lot of the times, especially now, there's a lot of buyers that are walking in without realtors. It's very important to always ask if they're working with a realtor, just so that you can give them accurate information. And then same thing, not only are you hosting an open house to generate those buyer leads, you're trying to create inventory as well. So that's the purpose of reaching out to the neighbors, not only to see if they know somebody who wants to purchase, but maybe they themselves have been thinking about buying or selling. So then that way you can connect with them as well. And then it's very important to partner up with people during open houses. If you can get a lender, if you can get, anything, an inspection company, anybody to partner up with, just because it will be easier for you to then follow up with these leads. All right, so then as far as seller lead sources, obviously we do have door knocking as an option, cold calling, absentee owners, farming, Facebook ads, street text, direct mail, and community events. Door knocking, it's going to work different for everybody. It really depends on how you want to do it. I always take stuff with me to hand to them that has my information. Right now, especially in this market, I have buyers. So what I do is I specifically target neighborhoods where my buyers are searching. So I'm going with information on what my buyer's looking for with my information, handing it to people and just having conversations with them. I let them know, hey, I have a buyer that's looking in your area. Your home is something that they might be interested in. Are you interested in selling? And most of the time you're going to end up having conversations with people that, they'll tell you they've been living there for X amount of time, or they're renting there. Again, you're trying to connect with as many people as you can, because we are in a people business. So you just have to make sure that you're connecting and having as many conversations as you can to generate interest or business or anything like that. As far as cold calling, within the presentation, there's a couple of scripts that you guys will be able to use. I always say with cold calling, you need to give it your own touch. Don't sound like a robot. you know, and just do what you feel comfortable doing. At the end of the day, it's again trying to connect with people, and making sure that they can trust you with a major decision in their life, whether it's to buy or sell. Another big thing is absentee owners. We can use IMAP to find absentee owners. So absentee owners are obviously owners that do not live in the state, do not live within the property. And then those are always great options as far as people who might be willing to sell, just because, again, they're not in the state. Right now, it is still a seller's market. So it's different ways to get people to sell because they can get top dollar for their property at this moment. So it's just obviously reaching out to them and posing the question of, hey, are you willing to sell? Farming an area, also a great way to generate inventory as well. You just want to make sure that the area that you're farming, everybody knows that you're the go-to for that area. You know that everything as far as the businesses around the area, you're a market expert for that local area. So you want to be the person that everybody depends on to just find out anything about that area. Again, Facebook ads, it's very inexpensive. Usually with the Facebook ads, when I'm targeting sellers, what I'm doing is that I'm offering them free home evaluations. And then just kind of give them, you know, a number based on the comps in the area. In order to get more information, I let them know that I need to see the property. And then once I see them in person and I can connect with them in person, then obviously it's a different conversation. Direct mail, also a great way to find sellers. With direct mail, you do need to be consistent. You know, people get the postcards, they're not always going to pick it up and call you right away. I feel like they need to see your face multiple times before they actually pick up the phone to call you. Personally, what I do is that I do send a piece of direct mail to an area, and then I go and I door knock, because more than likely at that point they would have already saw the piece of mail that you sent out, and then more than likely they'll go and have a conversation with you, just based on the neighborhood and things like that. Community events, again, you just want to be known within your community as what it is that you do. You're a market expert in that area. So it's always going to help the farming, or just, you know, everything combined as far as being known as for what you do, which is you buy or you sell real estate. So let's see. Kevin, am I still host?
Yeah, you should be. Let me check. Yeah.
Okay.
What seems to be the issue?
No, it's not. I got it. All right. So as far as door knocking and cold calling, these are different options of people that you can door knock or cold call. Right now, for sale by owners, obviously you can find those by driving around, looking on Zillow. I feel like there's a lot less for sale by owners than there were a few months past. I feel like there's a lot more realtors being used. Obviously, you can also find high equity homeowners. You can find this information on Remind, which is on our dashboard. So there's different ways to search, but if you type in an area, it's gonna generate a list of all the owners that are within that area. And it's gonna give you kind of like a probability of whether or not they're willing to sell, how much equity they have. So even if you see somebody who's low on wanting to sell, but you see that there's high equity on there, I would still call and just pose the question of like, hey, did you know how much equity you have in your home? And just kind of start that conversation to see if you can spark interest. You can always reach out to expired and canceled leads. Again, you're gonna access that information through the MLS. Don't focus so much on expired and canceled leads from recently. I would actually just go back to past years and just see if any of those would work as well. You also have pre-foreclosure and distress sellers. There's not many of those now. I have seen a few more list pendants come up as of recently. But obviously right now we're in a situation where there's high equity. So it's few and far between that we're running into the pre-foreclosures and distress sales. But again, it's always important to keep an eye out and know how to do them, because at any point, if there's a change in the market, you're prepared to handle these situations and continue being someone who adds value to the homeowners. You can always reach out to past clients. Again, when you're reaching out to past clients, you're not asking them if they're the ones that want to sell. You're asking them, hey, do you or anyone you know want to buy, sell? And you're obviously checking in on them just to make sure that you're staying in contact and top of mind with them. And again, absentee owners are always a good option as well. All right, so what are we saying to people when we call them? So depending on the person you're calling, obviously there's just different scripts. Again, you're gonna use scripts that work for you. You don't wanna read off a script and just sound that, like, again, like you're a robot. You wanna make sure that you're saying stuff that's making you stand out as an individual and you're connecting with that person and you're not trying to just sell them on something. So then this is a script that you can use for sale by owner. You're asking them questions on why they're selling on their own, how soon they need to be out, what's the price that they're asking for the property, etc. All right, then this is also a script that you can use for expireds. I don't feel like there's many of those. So like I said, at this moment, I would kind of go back and look for expireds that are from over a year ago, just because if they haven't sold at this point, you just want to find out why they're not selling. Maybe the interest changed. But again, you're trying to find out and connect with them on how maybe at this point it's a better time for them to sell. All right, there's also a gratitude script, which you can say how thankful you are to your past clients on trusting you with the sale or the purchase of their home, and then asking them, you know, if there's anybody that they know that wants to use you as a realtor. All right, so then with all this, when you're generating leads, you need to make sure that you're staying organized and you're staying consistent. I feel like consistency is key. You need to create a follow-up routine that you're reaching out to people. I feel like most of the time we get caught up with the hustle and bustle of what happens within real estate. So we'll call one day, but then we won't call the next. So the most important part is just staying consistent with lead generation. Personally, I like to spend 4 hours a day just focusing on what I need to do in order to generate business. And then after that, my day kind of just starts, you know, whether it's me reaching out to past clients, me reaching out to people on social media, interacting with others on social media, just making sure that I'm doing lead generating activities for at least 4 hours, 5 times a week, to make sure that I stay busy within that within this market. And then there's, again, it could vary depending on your schedule. You just need to make sure that whatever you're doing, it's based on the times that you're available and you're going to be consistent with those times. And then just make sure that you're calling whenever you know that you're, again, going to stick to that schedule and you're going to do it. And let's see. And then that is it. Do you guys have any questions, any other things that you think that we can share with others on how to generate leads or anything? Yeah, so I think Kevin's gonna send out an email with the PowerPoint and the video for the presentation as well. So then that way you have access to all the scripts, and those scripts, obviously, those are just some that I use. There's a ton that you can find online. So just, again, find stuff that works for you. All right, so the names of the apps that I mentioned within the presentation. So to generate rental leads, there is a website called RentLinks. We also have Rental Beast, which is provided within the Miami Association dues. That's a great way to reach out for rent by owners or rental communities. There's things that are on Rental Beast that are not on the MLS, just because Rental Beast has made contact and created some kind of opening information with those people, so you can reach out. So it's going to give you different inventory. As far as for what else, for seller leads, again, you can use Facebook ads. For geo leads, you can use Vortex. And then I think that's it. I mean, as far as buyer leads, obviously you have Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com. Again, Facebook ads. It's a great way and it's inexpensive. And I think that's all the apps that I mentioned. So creating a Facebook ad, I'm pretty sure there could be like an entire class about it, but within Facebook, once you sign in, you're gonna have what's called an ad manager. You're gonna create kind of a budget for what you wanna spend on the ad that you're gonna create. So I'll give you an example of the ad. So here's what the ad would look like. Then you would have this ad run for a period of time, whatever you find fit. I usually run new ads every 2 weeks, just so that it's fresh listings that I'm putting out there. And then the Facebook ad manager, what it's gonna do, it's gonna say, okay, you have a budget of $150. We're running it for 2 weeks. And then it's gonna create those leads. So every click is gonna cost you about a penny. And then obviously the information that comes in, it's the person's name, email, and phone number. That information is just information that's going out. It's going to be up to you to call them and then follow up with them and just generate that business. Not everybody that puts their information is a buyer or is a seller. So then again, that's going to be your job to filter through that. All right, so with following up with leads, there's different ways of doing it. Obviously, there's the email newsletters. There are different websites that you can use. You can use Follow Up Boss or any task manager. They have different drip campaigns that will allow you to keep in touch with the leads. There's also something called Outbound Engine, which it'll send out, I think every 2 weeks, it sends out an email on different things that they can do to their homes. If they're a seller that you worked with, or if a buyer that you worked with, same thing. So there's different like newsletters that go out every 2 weeks. And then Outbound can also like post for you on social media as well. It only posts for you on Facebook and LinkedIn. Doesn't do anything on Instagram. So yeah, so there's different platforms that you can use to keep in touch with people. And then the other one that I mentioned is the personal marketing company. And then they're the ones that you input your client's information, and for $25, which is a one-time fee, it'll keep in touch with them every quarter for like the next 5 years. So it's a combination of like postcards that go out, or maybe it's newsletters or like magazines that go out with information that's going to be branded with your face, your information. So it's always going to be linked back to you. So there's something that I use text message, I use an app called Reach. So Reach is something that you can create different lists, and it's gonna send out not a mass text because you have to group them, but it's gonna send out a text message to each person. So it's gonna be an individual text message that goes out. It's a great way to keep in touch with, you know, different groups that you're in. And the good thing, it's not a group message, so they're not gonna see that you're messaging 10 people at the same time or 20 people at the same time. Each one's gonna come in individually. So that app is called Reach. Definitely recommend it. And CRM, honestly, it depends on you. There's a ton of them. Personally, I work on a team, so we use Follow Up Boss. Something that I used to use at the beginning, and I still use to stay on top of things, it's a task manager called Monday. That one runs about like $10 a month, and it's great. You can create task lists, you can create things that you need to follow up with, workspaces, all kinds of stuff. I recommend that one. It's very easy to use. It has an app. And then other than that, I mean, it's just finding what works for you and finding what's within your price point. You know, I think there's a lot of options out there. So, and most of them offer free trials. So you can go ahead and just test them out and see which one you like best. And then I think there's a question for Stefan in here.
Yes, thank you. I'm responding via text
Okay.
now. Thank you very much for mentioning.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
So Sergio, posting the properties from the MLS. So the MLS has like a plugin now that will start posting for you if it's yours. As far as you being able to post a rental from the MLS, that is something that you would have to manually do. Again, you do need to get permission in order to be able to post it, unless it's from your own brokerage. And then you can just kind of post it on RentLinks, or you can post it on Facebook Marketplace as well. RentLinks, remember, it distributes it to different websites. So it'll distribute it to apartments.com, apartment list. There's quite a few websites that it'll go into. Nick, with what you said, that it's okay to advertise, even though you're putting that it's okay to advertise, I always say that it's better to reach out to the agent and ask. It's better to ask and get a yes, and, you know, kind of go from there, just because you don't want to be, you know, posting stuff and then someone get upset at you for posting it. All right, guys. Well, if you don't have any other questions, I hope that you guys were able to pick up some information on lead generation here. Always make sure that, like I said, you're staying on top of following up. Make sure that you're always doing things that you're focused on generating things that, or focusing on lead generating activities every single day to make sure that your pipeline stays full. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram. My username is @VOPAO, and make sure to follow @MiamiYPN. Kevin's always posting great stuff on there, so hope to see you at the next one.
Yeah, but on my way home.